This is week 3, worksheet 1, social studies. The date should be May 11th when you are completing this, 2020. It says the judicial branch. Now, we've already done this for the legislative branch and the executive branch, so this should be something that's easy for you to do already. All we're going to do is we're going to read through the paragraphs. So we've got paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and then if you flip it over on the back, you will see that we have questions that you're going to match. So we've got judicial branch, unconstitutional, Supreme Court, and you've got their matches. So highest court in the U.S. evaluates the law not allowed by the Constitution, and you're just going to draw a line to match whichever one is the correct one. Down here we've got some pick the best answer. Choose the best answer. How are the Supreme Court justices nominated? By the people's vote, an election, or by the president. You're just going to fill in the blank or fill in the dot. Number 5 is the Supreme Court justices are not elected by the people. True or false? And then why is the judicial branch important? So this should be pretty easy for us to do. The first thing Ms. Sloger's going to do, as always, is read through it once. Remember, just because Ms. Sloger read through it once does not mean that you shouldn't also read through it once, and you actually should read through it once, because I'm going to read it once, you're going to read it once, and then if you need to, you can read it over again and again, or you can listen to Ms. Sloger read it. But remember, we always read our articles twice. All right, starting at the beginning. Paragraph 1. The judicial branch of the government is made up of the court system. There is the Supreme Court and other federal courts. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States and is the head of the judicial branch. The judicial branch explains the meaning of the Constitution and the laws passed by Congress. It does this by ruling on very important court cases. The Supreme Court rules whether something is constitutional or unconstitutional, meaning it is permitted by the U.S. Constitution. The judges or justices, so justices is another word for judges, are not elected by the people like the president is. They are appointed by the president and then have to be approved by the Senate. The president nominates all the Supreme Court members, and the Senate confirms them. They hold their offices for their life, meaning that they can only be removed from their position by death, by Congress, or by resignation. And resignation just basically means that you quit. It is a very important job to be a Supreme Court justice or judge. So then we turn it over. And this says, judicial branch, unconstitutional, Supreme Court. So I'm going to go ahead and pick unconstitutional to do for this example, because I remember reading it in the text. And sometimes it's easier if you start out with the ones that you know or you remember, and then you can do process of elimination later. And that is one of our test-taking skills, is process of elimination. So I read the word unconstitutional in paragraph 2. The judicial branch explains the meaning of the Constitution and the laws passed by Congress. It does this by ruling on very important court cases. The Supreme Court rules whether something is constitutional or unconstitutional. So here we have the word unconstitutional. I'm just going to box it in because that's what it's asking. What does unconstitutional mean? Meaning it is permitted by the U.S. Constitution. So we have constitutional or unconstitutional. So is it permitted by the U.S. Constitution? So we know the word un can mean not, because that is what a prefix is. So our prefix is the word un, and un can mean not. So this can mean not constitutional. So if it's not constitutional, constitutional means is it permitted by the U.S. Constitution, and this means not permitted by the U.S. Constitution. So I'm also going to underline this because this is very important for us to remember. So when I flip it over, if I forget where I read it, I know where I read it because it's underlined and boxed. So for unconstitutional, my options are highest court in the U.S. Well, it said nothing about courts being constitutional or unconstitutional, so I know that's not correct. Evaluates the law. Well, I don't think unconstitutional means that it's evaluating the law. And then we have not allowed by the Constitution. Well, it did say Unconstitutional, constitutional, meaning it is permitted by the U.S. Constitution. So it does talk about the Constitution, and we already said that un means not, so it means not allowed by the Constitution. So you're going to do the other two by yourself, the same way Ms. Soger just did it. And then you're going to do questions 4 and 5 by yourself. How are the Supreme Court justices nominated? The Supreme Court justices are not elected by the people. True or false? Number 6 says, why is the judicial branch important? So we're going to just do our sentence stem, and then you're going to go back through the text and pull this out for yourself. So we're going to get rid of those yucky question words. So why is? And then we're just going to write the judicial branch is important because the judicial branch is important because. And then you are going to go back in the text on your own, and you're going to find where it says, why is the judicial branch important? Remember, all of these answers can be found in the text.